You're listening to virtual interactive chat like you've never heard before. We are discussing issues from both sides of the political spectrum every night. Join us as we take on the two-party system.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm a little late. Sorry for the delay. Yeah, I was in traffic and just got out of it. You'll have to excuse the, just a wild Friday night, bumper to bumper traffic. We're here. Thank goodness we found a good spot to broadcast from. Wow. Welcome. Yeah, sometimes we do that on our travel show. We start a little late, unfortunately, but you never can tell whenever you're traveling. You started on time, yeah. You guys were here, but I was really delinquent because I had to actually get into the hotel room, set up, and here I am. Yeah. So it takes a while when you do travel to get the show going. It's not really an act, it's a show because I'm not acting. So how's everybody tonight? Looking into iVlog, mapping the effects of realization. People finally realizing that Donald Trump was being blackmailed and the media is not even discussing it. We talked about it last night. Donald Trump was blackmailed by the Russians and Mueller knew it 2 years ago and didn't do anything. Our national security has been under attack for the past 2.5 years. Actually 3 years since the election was rigged. But our national security is under attack and Mueller didn't think to himself to tell the rest of the Justice Department that Donald Trump was being blackmailed by Russia. I mean, I'm in a state of shock and disbelief that the Democrats aren't just outraged right now. What's happening? I am absolutely appalled at the behavior of Robert Mueller. He should be prosecuted for not doing what he needed to do. Our nation is now obviously under the siege of Russia blackmailing our president. That hasn't changed. Hey, thank you. Marvelous hair. We managed to pull it off. I don't know how, but we will give you an extended show tonight because of the delinquency of me starting 15 minutes late. Yeah, thank you. And the beat goes on. I mean, we're on our way broadcasting from a hotel room with a high-speed connection. And we will be up and running through the evening, talking about the news, bringing in links. Thank you guys for checking into our show. It's kind of a casual setup with the 6 to 8 program. But I'm sorry for being late. I know a lot of you were probably chatting, wondering, where's Dave?
I believe that I am the best person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time. I'm a person who will spike the conversation, who will get politics rolling and stimulate new questions and new answers to our current political dilemma facing our nation. I believe I have a keen understanding of the economy and how to improve where we're at relative to other nations around the world. I believe that our goal at America's Third Party was to create a very strong platform in which would propel the American people forward with new opportunities and a new possibility of creating a better nation, a cleaner environment, and less war. unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to America's Third Party. I'm David Sponheim, and we are up and running. The ATP Travel Show is ongoing every night, and tonight we're doing just a tribute to freedom and what little freedom we have left in America. Now, we found out recently that Robert Mueller has known for over 2 years that Russia has been blackmailing our president. Yet the Democrats don't seem to care. And this isn't even a mainstream media news item. They've completely sidelined the whole story. So one of the things that I'm really concerned about is that not enough is being done by the Democrats to intercede in this matter and to deal with the potential problem that could arise from a country controlling a president. Now, the allegations are so serious and now are revealed by Robert Mueller in the final minutes of his testimony the other day that we can't ignore this. This is beyond belief. Mueller testified that Russia had blackmail on Trump. I mean, the dossier apparently is real. This is beyond belief in my mind that we should be sitting here doing nothing. This is of the utmost importance, and Robert Mueller had an obligation as special prosecutor to present this evidence to the American people, and he didn't. So now what do we do? If the Democrats were on it, they'd be prosecuting Robert Mueller right now with a grand jury. He didn't do his job. I mean, this is insane. And to think that that's no big deal and to not mention it to the Justice Department, I mean, we are really in a situation here, folks. Now, Admiral says it took 234 refreshes to get into this effing room, and he almost gave up. Well, R.M. Adams, we don't know who you are, but you just got muted for that. We welcome people who are trying to get past the censorship that Mark is putting in place. We know Mark is making hundreds of millions of dollars. He's been paid to stop me, even has some guy put out to try to steal my viewers during this time period. And this guy, Ghost, apparently created a channel as soon as we went on vacation. And it's become kind of a thing to pull me away and put this guy in place. And that's exactly what's been going on. And Joe Pesci says it took his left nut to get in here. So see, Sarah, when we started our show a half an hour ago or so, we were actually just attacked by Mark himself because all my speeds showed, wow, high speed everywhere, upload and download. And we're working out of a hotel room as we make our trek across the country slowly back to our home studio where we'll continue our soon-to-be 8-hour show. Yeah, it'll run from 5 in the afternoon like it usually started, with 5 hours of live entertainment from 5 to 10, and then 10 to 1, not 10 to 2. I cut it by 1 hour because I need my sleep, and I know the people on the East Coast need their sleep. And I thought about it, why do I want people staying up this late and not missing, not getting their really good sleep before the crack of dawn? So I want everyone to be able to access our show without losing their sleep. But an 8-hour show is coming. We'll be doing that daily, except for Sunday, of course. But right now we're on the 2-hour show, which is all I can deliver. But it literally took me a half an hour just to get the show stabilized. The fact that I'm doing a show every day is campaigning. And I don't know if you realize this, but I've got a very big target on my head. I've got over 1,000 death threats against me. Wherever I go, I have to travel incognito. They're suppressing me in the mainstream media. No one's allowed to talk about me. So you people are the only ones that really know about America's Third Party here in the U.S., and you're the ones trying to get into the show. The people all around the world who are watching our rebroadcast are just happy to see us because they can't even chat, and they haven't been able to chat in years. Mark has been doing this to censor our show for many, many years since we moved over here when Blog TV got bought out by, I think, a federal informant. So as we grew, they tried to suppress the networks that we're surrounding and we were using. It's pretty big. Yeah, I know it takes up a lot of space, but the Kevlar is obvious from this angle. Normally I wouldn't be showing you this angle because it hides the Kevlar. Now, don't ever go there, and if you ever come into the show and try to bring up the other person who's trying to use my time period to capitalize on politics, then what you'll do is get banned from the show immediately. Okay, according to this Daily Beast article on Jeffrey Epstein, his weapons were his hands. A California model says Epstein posed as Victoria's Secret scout to grope her. Oh, wow. So he claimed he was a Victoria's Secret scout just so he could grope this girl. A decade before sex abuse claims against accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein first came to light, the math teacher turned wealthy financier, and by the way, he never had a degree in mathematics, but he taught in private schools to 17-year-old girls. He posed as a Victoria's Secret talent scout to try and manhandle a California model by luring her to a Santa Monica hotel room. His weapons were his hands, the model Alicia Arden told the Times of the 1997 encounter, one of the earliest documented allegations against Epstein. Arden was 27 at the time of the alleged attack, so she was an older woman. And then another model, Italian glamazon Elisabetta Tai, has made a similar allegation that Epstein posed as a Victoria's Secret recruiter and tried to grope her. Wow. Disturbing questions are raised about what some describe as Epstein's total control over Leslie Wexner, the billionaire businessman and CEO of I Brands, the parent company of Victoria's Secret. So apparently he worked with this guy, Leslie Wexner, billionaire businessman, owner of Victoria's Secret, in order to get closer to women. Wow. Okay, the deception continues, and of course he tried to kill himself, or maybe not. We don't know. He had marks around his neck. He was taken to the infirmary. I don't know. I don't think he's going to last much longer. I just threw my hair on tonight because it was necessary to, thank you, there it is. It was necessary to do the show on the fly, so I had to, pull it all together. Thank you. Hey, Drag King, what's going on, man? True Blue has something. Here's the Epstein model, Alicia Arden. Let's take a look and see what she looked like. She's making these statements. She says accused trafficker used his close relationship with Victoria's Secret's. Yeah, so she's the one making the allegations. Nice. Yeah, when she was younger, 27, he was groping her. Wow. Well, this is not surprising, this guy, and the depth of despair, the abyss of narcissism that he went down. Yeah. Get some Beano if you're having problems with flatulence. That might help. It's a product available on the market over the counter. Yeah, you don't want to have flatulence problems. Yeah, it's very bad for social encounters if you're standing next to somebody and you're just trying to have a conversation and you're just cutting out a really, really big one, It takes away from the conversation. People don't think you're serious. And you're high on CBD. Wow. You're learning all kinds of things about CBD now, aren't you, Mad Dog? Good for you. A lot of Republicans are finally gaining reality checks about the legalization of marijuana. And you're one of them, aren't you? Yeah, it's like time to get on board, man. I know. Okay, so let's shut down on autofocus. Oh, it is on. No. Gain. Camera control. Yes, I don't need autofocus. There we go. That might help a little bit. There we go. Okay. You don't need to see me closer because it's Freedom Friday. I can talk. No, I'm not wearing lipstick. It's just the lighting. I told you about the lighting issues with these hotel rooms. It's called Beano, yeah. Beano, Beano, and Beano was his name. And Beano is a great anti-gas product that it's available at markets, anti-gas pills. I think there's some generic. I think Equate makes a generic brand of it. Yeah, with Beano you can eat the foods you love, right? Now some of you are beginning to get acid reflux from just stuffing your face with all the fast food every night, and you're wondering why your esophagus is hurting. Well, that's very likely going to lead to something really bad. So what I urge people to do is stop eating so much and don't eat past 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night. All right? That's my tip for you today. Thank you. I seem somewhat albino-ish, really. Okay. Well, let's see what we can do with the camera. I've got plenty of time here. Aside from talking about our country being controlled by Russia, we can talk about my hairdo, the camera control, whatever you want. Yeah. Just to take your mind off the reality that the Democrats are not doing anything to stop Donald Trump from working for Russia. So it became clear that we are dealing with a person, Donald Trump, who is, in fact, using every means possible, lying about his contacts with Russia at all levels, and ultimately being controlled by Russia, much like a puppet is controlled by its puppeteer. I'm pulling some of the sunshine down on my face. Sunshine over face. And Drag King, you're not allowed to use that image of that guy, the gang stalker, who makes a lot of money attacking our show. Congress was off 45 days before they even started. Can't really. Don't ever mention another politics show here. They're trying to sabotage our viewership, so I'm going to purge that. Thank you. That's right. You cannot mention other casters here. I'm not censoring you. I'm just telling you. Right. Anybody else? Right. I don't censor any other casters, and that's just the reality. I censor all casters. You're not allowed to talk about other channels. Like I said, I'm doing the best I can here. Unbelievable. Acid reflux. Yeah, acid reflux is the precursor to hiatal hernia. Hey, Abdul, welcome. Yeah, and if you get a hiatal hernia, chances are you're not going to feel very good. It even mocks a heart attack. So if you think overeating all the time is like no big deal, you may want to rethink, because the reality is it can really damage your esophagus. This past week I was at a meeting with a few corporate executives, and I met a man who had laparoscopic surgery on his esophagus because his reflux was so bad. The guy said the doctor told him he was precancerous, that if he didn't do something right away about his little flap that controls his food, he'd be getting cancer. So they went in laparoscopically from 4 different points, and with their little tools, they tied a little circle. They made the esophagus into something other than a straight line. So it somehow helped him. Isn't that interesting? They put a Dacron polyester sheath around it or something. Boy, we got a lot of chatters tonight. Good luck. Thanks. So don't take overeating lightly, folks. It's serious. It can seriously damage your esophagus if you start throwing up or belching from overeating. Well, I'd love to cover Francis Deck, but I can't, except tonight would be a great night to look at some of his videos, maybe. Yeah, I can only play so much before I'm censored because he's censored. Okay. As you know, the show goes on despite all efforts. You can turn subtitles on this show and actually read it.
If I could do that, I would.
Oh, you tried? Poor lady. Yeah. So the place we went to today had a really kind of a cool setup. At 4 o'clock, we arrived at this hotel, and they had a dinner out there. And this is something that hotels are doing to compete with each other, is they put a little light dinner out. Isn't that a cool idea? So I looked around and I didn't see anybody from the hotel at all. I just saw about 5 or 6 backpacks and a bunch of bag people sitting there. So I didn't want to say anything. It's a nice hotel. It's just I think the lady who runs it is supporting the bag person population. I hope they're not there in the morning, the same backpacks with sweaty, weird, bearded people. I have no prejudice against bag people. I see everybody as equals. Even though they didn't pay any for a hotel room, they still have to, eat, obviously. So, hey, what do you think about women that slap their cheeks on stage? Well, selfies and twerking and slapping, self-slapping, and self-flagellation, it's not new. It's been going on for years in the Muslim community. Yes. No, Sarah didn't do my hair. What are you talking about? No, you can't trust anything Isla Fries says, because Isla Fries is a woman, a man posing as a woman. What do you want to talk about, Hog Slammer? How you doing? How's that CBD oil helping your back? And Tyler, you're not allowed to use the N-word here, even though Mark allows it. Yeah, so I'm going to purge you. Don't ever use that again, okay? I've got a huge audience, Tom. Don't worry about me or anybody competing with me. I can bring in the numbers. Mark has to hold back millions of people from the chat room every night. It took a bunch of people, like 50 refreshes, to get in here. Stretch my ears out, huh? What is this supposed to be, good for ear health? The audience is in the billions, and they can't even get in. Mark keeps them all out. He actually bans, he admitted this, he bans 350 million VPNs from our show. The IPs of 350 million VPNs. I mean, can you imagine? Well, let's be clear. Well, that's an interesting article you sent. Supreme Court clearing way for Trump administration to use defense funds for the border wall. Problem is, Trump doesn't deserve to do anything at this point. He's working for Russia. That's right. Russia has virtually blackmailed him. I mean, and Mueller knew this all along. I don't understand why the Democrats aren't acting immediately. This is serious, folks. Look at this. Yeah, it's crazy. Toward the end of the entire session, where Mueller droned on and didn't want to talk about things because he was apparently it was top secret that Russia's been working with our government for years. Yeah. The most noteworthy and newsworthy portion of Robert Mueller's 6 hours of testimony before the House came in the final two exchanges of the day. That's right, long after the narrative was set and the national media had grown bored, in those 10 minutes, Mueller confirmed that Russia had blackmail leverage over Donald Trump during the 2016 election. Now it's incumbent upon this guy, Mueller, to report it, but he didn't, which means he committed a felony. This is cavalcading into a nightmare of misjudgments by a man who really doesn't even understand the law and never should have been special prosecutor. And believe me, I know. This is not something that we can possibly just sit back and ignore. The Democrats aren't doing a thing. We as Americans are outraged. A third party needs to sit up forward and start analyzing the true details of this collusion. But ironically, Mueller didn't even call it collusion. He's afraid to use the word. It's actually called conspiracy. That's right. Robert Mueller used the word conspiracy in his testimony. That's what they're going with, that Donald Trump conspired with Russia to win the election. It was a cowbell moment just now, really? I thought it was a Larry Sinclair moment. Yeah, I thought maybe Larry Sinclair was up for, but you didn't call for Larry Sinclair. Right. You made the other request. Well, I don't think cowbell is needed right now. We're still assimilating the story, and I'm not going to give the story up. I'm still moving forward to the next story. Yeah, so here we go. Here we go again. The Supreme Court clears way for Trump's administration to use defense funds for border wall construction. Whatever. This was my idea, by the way, to use defense funds for the border wall construction. Thank you. See, this is the mainstream BS news. You don't want to watch that. It's crock of crap. So Trump's going to get $2.5 billion for the DOD's construction parting of the fence. Okay, good. I could easily build a container wall with that money. This was my idea originally, is to just use the military down there and declare that it was part of the DOD's defense buildup of the border. Simple. We didn't have to declare a national emergency like Trump did. I do take donations, Poindexter. Are you getting are you getting an unable to send a PayPal message from your PayPal button on our donation page? You're not allowed to use the N-word here. No, I believe me. Just because Mark removed it from the list, he's going to get an anti-hate crime charge against him. I guarantee it. Yep. Don't ever use that word here. You just got 5 minutes each. Anyway, We don't know who Frank is. Yeah. We don't know what you. All I can tell you is the money that Donald Trump is taking in right now is so extreme. It's 255 times as much money as he would have gotten if he just got a paycheck. Yeah. He's profiting left and right from the White House. Conflict of interest laws are breached. Emoluments clause is breached. He's working with Russia, blackmailing him, according to Mueller. He knew willingly that Russia was rigging the election against Hillary Clinton, and he didn't report it to the authorities in advance of the election. That's a fact, too. Every way you turn, Donald Trump has been lying about the whole thing, saying, oh, it's all fake news, I never colluded or whatever, no obstruction. He's obstructed. He's done everything he can to fire Mueller. Don McGahn testified to that effect himself. You know, I don't have to say I'm not a racist when I'm not a racist. Yeah, guilt is in the eyes of the beholder, I suppose, but I'm something different. I'm an American original. And being an American original, I'm politically direct, not politically correct necessarily. But because my effort to be an American original has been so strong, I'm not pale at all. No. No, it's the lighting. I'm telling you, I'm fighting a lighting issue. You turn that light off? I think it's too much light. That second one over there? Yeah. No, it's just a lighting issue. There we go. I think it's down at the bottom. That's better. No, I'm not ill. I'm doing great. I may look bluish because of the background, but you know, I can tell you this. Turn it down. That's great. Thanks. I don't really know if it matters. I look a lot better than Joe Biden, I can tell you that.
Yes, you do.
That guy must be drinking adrenochrome. He looks like 5 years younger than he did 10 years ago. Oh, thank you.
Better.
Yeah, better.
Ooh, turn this one down too.
No, it's okay. It's fine. I don't care. If you need the light, go for it. But if not, go to bed. All right, so we got a regular show going on every night.
We get to showtime.
You know, I don't think you. Does anyone want Sarah in the room with her white? Get her white.
I can change my shirt.
Don't change your shirt. Don't even bother getting up. You're so tired. Just go to bed.
I was literally falling asleep 2 seconds ago.
She was falling asleep 2 seconds ago. I'll handle the show completely, Sarah. I just, need my cup of coffee if you could hand it to me.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And just, I'll drink it cold. I don't care.
I think it.
No, it takes forever to heat things up around microwaves, and I don't want to bother. Okay, Giggler. Whatever you guys are up to, it's not pretty. We're going to remove you from the show. These guys are trolls. Michael Hawkins, yeah, you can't come into the show and troll us, dude. Mark is letting trolls in, but he's not letting our supporters in. That's what's happening. You supporters who want to get in the show can't, and Mark is allowing all his scumbag money-mongers suck-ups to come in here. Well, thank you. Thanks for the amazing compliment about my veneers. Yeah, they're looking more natural every day. Yes, they're fusing with my actual teeth. I know. I'm thinking I could have plastinamel, the newest form of teeth. Plastinamel. Well, money mongering suck ups, that's not funny, RM. You're one of them if you're new here. I mean, I don't trust you yet. But anybody who comes in with these troll things like or nowhere or no Donovan is going to be banned immediately. You can't come in and do that. What rooms have you been hanging out with? T. Rucker? You know, isn't that the guy Ghost? Isn't that T. Rucker, right? I don't know. I haven't checked out the Ghost show. Maybe you have, but I think T. Rucker is broadcasting as that guy. Yeah. No, what I learned to do is just what I'm trying to do is eliminate my press-on veneers by cutting them off one by one and integrating them with my real teeth. Actually, I'm getting ready for a whole new set of press-on veneers. I'm going to do the lowers too, I think, this time. Yeah, why not spend $1,000 on your teeth, right? No, see, there you go again. You don't realize you're in a bad place. Thanks, Bob. Hair looks good. Can't grow a mullet. Don't want to. I don't want to live in the 70s. I think that's inappropriate, Dan. Stick to politics. Thanks, Rumpelstiltskin. Fake smile. Nice. That is a bannable offense. Boy, Mark just lets them in like an open door, and they keep coming in, and all our real supporters can't get in here. It's amazing. Hey, folks, if you have a problem getting our show, go to coolrock.com. Coolrock.com is available to you right now with the iBlog show running in Flash. And I'm more than willing to give you that information because I'm glad to give it to you. I want you to go see our show somewhere else. Is that nice? What's wrong? Do you have your eye patches?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have your eye patches?
No.
Well, you might need them. I am happy with my regular teeth. I have one regular teeth showing right now. Right here. See? Oh, actually, it's this tooth right here. Okay. We got drop frames detected on Vaughn. Yep. See, he knocked us down. Look at that. He's kicking us down. We got drop frames coming into Vaughn right now as we speak. Yeah, he doesn't like the fact that I'm kicking all his trolls out. White noise helps you go to sleep, Sophia. Yeah. But it's best not to have white noise that's got electromagnetic frequencies to it. Radiation can really screw up your zirconium rhythm. Circadian rhythm. Zirconium is a type of, I believe, element. Circadian rhythm, yes, thank you. So the bandwidth is going to the other show, no sound. Let's try dropping off and going back on again. Yeah, Vaughn's really knocking us off. Look at that. Okay, refresh. Yep, he's trying to promote that other show, so he sent all his trolls into our show to knock him out. Can I get a link? If you think Donald Trump is a Russian, dude, just go check this link out. It tells you the whole deal. I mean, we've been telling you the truth about Donald Trump for so long, and I hope you start waking up, you Republicans. Check that out. Tell me that's not serious. Yeah. Check that out. Yeah, that's going to really reveal a lot. Hey, Scissor Fight. Mark is knocking the people who are trying to come into our show out and allowing all his trolls in and now cutting our bandwidth. Yeah, Trump is a Saudi, I agree. He's part of a cabal, a deep state cabal of Zionists that control the world. And Trump, they're only keeping him in and put Mueller out there because, number one, Mueller is a total stool pigeon. I mean, he's the guy that signed off the 9/11 Commission report. I mean, come on. How could anyone sign off on that when they didn't even include demolition as the possibility? I mean, really. So Mueller has always been a shill. Donald Trump is protected. Mueller didn't do his proper work. And most of all, Mueller knew that Donald Trump was being blackmailed by the Russians over the dossier. So now your Republicans are going, wait a second, I thought that Donald Trump said the dossier was fake Russian fake news. No, apparently the dossier is real, and Donald Trump's been blackmailed by it. So you people need to update your information stream to realize that Donald Trump has been manipulated by Russia. The very fact that Mueller knew this over 2 years ago and didn't say anything to the Justice Department means that Mueller is committing a felony. He's aiding and abetting a felonious act. That's what he's doing. By not acting on blackmail allegations, Robert Mueller has committed espionage, in my opinion. It doesn't matter if the dossier is real in your eyes or not. The fact is, Donald Trump was being blackmailed by Russia. Read it. New York Magazine is not some far-reaching, weird paper. It's legit. Okay, thanks for giving me a video of Francis Deck, his videos. I'll play a little later. Yeah, we'll get into that. That sounds like something we should commit to. I agree. Thanks, Tom. All I'm saying is that you guys who stand there and say, "Oh, the dossier is not real." Of course the dossier is real. Why else would Donald Trump be blackmailed over it? I mean, really. They got Donald Trump sitting or standing next to a bunch of women urinating. And God knows what he's doing. Yep. So stop denying the dossier is real. He's being blackmailed over it. My goodness. You people have been standing in the way of progress for so long, it's ridiculous. You're going to wade through the Republicans' recalcitrance in dealing with the truth that Donald Trump is being blackmailed by Russia. Unbelievable. Let's take a look at this story just brought in by Scissor Fight. Thanks, Scissor Fight. Okay, it's Freedom Friday, everybody. Welcome to the show. Okay, Pelosi. I'm not slow-walking impeachment inquiry. Nadler. It's in effect anyway. Okay, so Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, who should be impeached herself, says, "No, I'm not trying to run out the clock." She said at her final weekly press conference before departing Washington for the House's 6-week summer recess. "I'm not trying to run out the clock." And Nadler returns. Yep. Her comments came shortly after House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler, Democrat from New York, said at a separate press conference that his panel has already in effect been conducting an impeachment inquiry of the president, and said in a court filing that articles of impeachment are under consideration as part of the committee's investigation, although no final determination has been made. I certainly hope he acts on this because we're running out of time.
There are stories
No.
of inspiration and
You can't play a single video nowadays without some spin-off of a commercial. All right. No, you guys have... Lot Lizard is not allowed in here, dude. Yeah. I have never, ever... No. I've never, ever... This is my idea to go after the impeachment process, not the Democrats. I'm the guy who's led on this entire story from day one. Even when Trump was running in 2015, I was talking about this. So don't say it's a Democrat-framed issue. Thank you. No. Bottom line is, Trump did get blackmailed by the Russians. We know that from the Mueller's testimony now. Did you not read the article I just sent you? Yeah. Just read it and weep, man. That's a timely article. You need to get there. Joe Piscopo doesn't really matter to me. You demand Michelle? Well, I guess I can bring Michelle up, I suppose. And it's not fake. It's real, Bob. Look at the article. Yeah, Mueller is already committed to this. He said that Donald Trump was being blackmailed by Russia.
Where Senator Obama exited the limousine with $250, which was provided to him by me. Returned a short while later with an 8-ball of cocaine, which he gave to me. I did ingest a couple of lines of cocaine, and shortly thereafter, Senator Obama produced a glass cylinder pipe and packet of crack cocaine from his pocket. Obama then smoked the crack cocaine. I performed fellatio on Senator Obama in the limousine during the time Senator Obama was smoking crack cocaine. After which I had the driver take me to my hotel, the Comfort Suites, Gurnee, Illinois.
And do you think that the country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman president?
We already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know, Michelle, is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I think that appeased your interest in the subject. Yeah, hope that worked out for you. I couldn't do the money shot. I tried to execute it with this laptop, but it was too difficult on short notice. Florida State sentence receives threats telling her to back off the Epstein case. Really? Okay. This just in. We'll take it in. Thank you. Florida State Senator receives threats telling her to back off the Epstein case. Wow. Some people, very powerful people, are wondering what to do with Epstein. You know, is he going to live through his sentencing phase or his trial phase? I would, if I were Donald Trump, and I'd want to protect Jeffrey Epstein so that he could get to the bottom of all the pedophiles that have been accused of it. Florida State Senator Lauren Book, a child sex abuse survivor who's worked to pass strict sex offender laws in Florida, has received countless phone calls warning her to back off of the Jeffrey Epstein case. That's really wild. I wouldn't want to be her. Yeah, she's out in the open and doing hard work to stop this guy. Crazy. Thank you for that link. True Blue 2018. Well, I hope justice is served too, but I don't think he'll live past day one. I mean, this recent admission to the infirmary in New York, where he's being held with marks on his neck, indicates that he tried to either kill himself or get out of his cell by imposing self-injurious marks on his neck, or somebody actually did it to him. They may be getting ready to kill the guy and call it a suicide. I just hope that doesn't happen. I don't want anything like that to happen to anybody, but yeah, Maxed Out Credit said Epstein's going to die by Arkansas. There you go. All those 147 people that have died who happen to know Bill and Hillary Clinton. Well, Russian blackmail, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm not trying to justify sex crimes here. So let's get to the bottom of what Jeffrey Epstein's been doing. I would like a 3-strike law against molesters and rapists. I really would. I think we should impose the death penalty on those people. That's the only way to deal with them. 3 strikes and they're out. Have to be credible, and there has to be genetic evidence linking them to all the cases. We can't just rely on somebody saying, oh, he raped me, oh, some date rape scenario. No, it has to be real. But no one should be raping people. There's a guy serving 15 years in Leavenworth. In fact, he's going to be out in 8 years. They know he raped at least 19 men and women that they know of. They say it's more like 50. But he'll be getting out in 8 years, and he'll be a free man. Yeah. I just believe that one accusation is bad. It gives a person a chance to reform. Like, say you know, if you were, say, a child rapist, for instance. Yeah, you'd have a chance to get in the system and maybe go to McNeil Island, where they reform you, train you to be a better person, basically. That's strike one. You do it again, that's strike two. And we're giving you ample time to change. We don't want you to get out and do it again. And there are some people at McNeil Island that'll never get out, even if they're on parole. They're kept purposely on parole perennially, and they never get out because they're that dangerous to the society. McNeil Island off the coast of Tacoma, Washington is a very costly facility to the state of Washington. It costs roughly $85,000 per inmate to warehouse them every year. So it's not some lightweight thing. But a strike three law would be the final stroke that eliminates the problem, period. Okay. Okay, we had a slight connection problem with the show. Refresh, please. Yeah, it's we're getting slammed over here. Yeah. Click to enter the room. Okay, you guys may have to refresh. Huh. Not sure what's going on there. Okay. Take a look again. We're on. Okay, good. Hi. Refresh, everybody. Yeah, we're getting slammed every night here. It's crazy. Every time we do the show from the road, we're getting slammed because they're able to somehow find our VPN. They don't want to talk about the dirt that came up on Donald Trump being blackmailed by Russia. They don't want to discuss it. Yeah, for some reason I'm knocked out of chat. Let me see if I can get back in here. Okay. I don't have an e-meter. I'm not a Scientologist. The odds of raping victims being murdered goes way up if they're more harshly punished. Well, that's a very good anecdotal statement to what I was saying. Thank you. Yes. Reptoid made a good point. If somebody thinks they're going to be serving their third strike for molestation, the likelihood of them murdering their victim is greater. Thank you very much, Reptoid, for saying that, because you're right. You're right. That's why I think we should consider strike 2 offenders as well. All right. Yeah, why don't they just come on to iBlog? Well, because we're being attacked at iBlog too. Our entire internet was shut down just a few minutes ago. I know, I'm being DDoSed. It's called DDoS in progress. Yeah, they're trying to stop me. Yeah, I'm amazed you guys didn't figure that out by now. I know. Mark put me on a different ingest server. Let me see if we can get to another ingest server. Okay. This is getting a little tedious because we have to constantly flex the show in order to get past these ridiculous attacks. So it becomes kind of a nuisance in and of itself, which is their intent. Yeah, I'm going to go to my settings and see, even that's been knocked down. It won't even load my channel settings. Yeah. You're going to have spamming me too. DDoSer. Okay. Did I lose weight? Not really. I've lost 1 pant size. I think Area 51 is most likely just a national training center for our top secret weapons program, which would be called the Space Force. Donald Trump says he's going to create a Space Force. They already have one. I know. Mark is keeping me on... He's been attacking me on his server from the beginning of our show so that he can get other people to watch his other show. That's what Mark is doing. He knows full well that what we're doing is he can get other people to watch his other show. That's what Mark is doing. He knows full well that what we're doing... Right. So I'm going to go ahead and get a different ingest server and see if I can make an improvement here. No, I can't even get into my settings. Look at that. He's locked out my settings. Oh, there it is. Okay. Here we go. Let me try to get a channel up and running. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. See if I can work this out for you. No, he won't even let me change my ingest servers. Yeah. Okay, we're stuck with these ingest servers here, folks. That's crazy. Okay, hopefully we'll be able to fix this. Sorry for the delay. This has been an ongoing problem tonight. Good. This might work. Okay, here we go. All right. I got a new ingest server. Refresh. They've been DDoSing my ingest server over in New York, and I had to go back to another one out of another country. Yeah, hate to say it, but Mark is up to no good here. He's obviously attacking our show. Yep. Hey, help me out. Thank you. How is video? Is video on now? Hit send. Buffering? Really? You're buffering over at iBlog? Huh. That's really weird. Huh. Not sure why that's happening. This is not happening on my end. Nothing going on wrong here. I'm restarting. Here we go. We're back. Okay, good. Boy, this is a challenge, isn't it? Who says old people can't dance? Say, if you saw my video last night on YouTube, you saw that I was very capable of editing out any bad words. Boogie Woogie Seniors, Couple of the Year. Thank you. Okay. See, even if you eat fast food, you can still dance your heart's content. Isn't that great? And those big whoppers are bouncing up and down in your belly. You can see the whoppers; they're floating in their intestines as they swing and do that little whopper boogie. Do the whopper boogie, yeah. Big volume, yeah. I know. I'm sorry I had to give you volume there. Tell us about the blimp plane again. It gives you goosebumps. Okay. A long, long time ago, I created the blimp plane idea. It was a very, very wintry day in 2009 when I realized that I'd love to travel around the globe. And the best, most efficient way would be to put a blimp on top of my plane. So I asked my Learjet driver if they had the technology to attach a blimp to my Lear. And lo and behold, I teamed together with engineers and we created the blimp plane. Is video down or what's going on? God, I don't even know if I'm broadcasting. It's just so terrible. Is video on? Keep me posted, folks. Okay, thanks. So it was a wintry day outside of Roanoke, Virginia, when I was looking across my large field where my planes are parked in the hangar, and I said, we can do this. We can build the blimp plane. And that is when it was born. That's when I created the Vape Lounge, where people can gather and breathe wonderful THC together, much like the Native Americans used to smoke the peace pipe with the Western scourge people like, well, clearly they didn't smoke a peace pipe with Custer, did they? The Vapeezers. And that is when I developed the Vape Lounge. It's a luxurious retreat from reality, where you can gather with others and fantasize about maybe meeting in one of our private rooms on board the blimp plane. We will lace them out for a 3-hour period so that you can get to know your traveling partner. Froze, really? Video stopped again? God, this guy's unbelievable. He keeps knocking me off. Gosh, refresh. Jeez. Luis. You're DOSing me right now? He can't stop me. I know you DDoSed me. See, people are admitting they're DDoSing me in the room. I'm back on air now. Yep. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. Every night I do a show, they're attacking me. Dave, hair looks crazy. Like, what's going on? The comb over? What? No. This is authentic hair, man. This is not crazy hair. This is Dave's hair. I was back on for a while, but yes, I had to leave. I'm being a DDoS tonight, big time. They're so afraid of me, it's so obvious. They live in fear of me. Now that's the real me. That's the real unabashed me. Hotel wires, maybe AWG, 40 gauge, so tiny electrons have a hard time getting through. No, I'm being DDoSed at their end. It's only cutting out because of Mark. No, it's not dial-up at the hotel. I'll do a speed test right now and find out. Let me do it for you. Now they're hitting my VPN and hitting Mark's channel. I'm going to go right now to do a speed test, and I'll give you the results in just a second. Here it is. Coming up. Checking my signal strength. Latency error. Whoa. Okay. Let me try again. Yeah, something's going on. Okay, so we're going to do a in and out. Yeah, we're having some problems with the VPN. Wow. Two sites. Okay, it's my VPN that's being DDoSed. That's what's happening. Yeah, I'm just running a show in the background because it's all I can do. You know, what this is about is people trying to stop me at every level, and I've been doing this, reconnection to my VPN, and it's been the only way they've been able to stop me is to go right after my VPN. I'm going to test my straight signal. It's strong. Yeah, in fact, I'm going to do that right now while I have the moment. Let me do a speed test on it. I'm going to take it and speed test my straight signal out of this location, and here we go. Interesting. Latency test error. Huh. Well, that's different. Okay. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's this location. It's 30, yeah. Could be porn, somebody said. That's funny. People downloading porn. Okay. It could be any number of things. Now it's running another example. It's rebooted. Apparently by rebooting is the only way I can get around it. Huh. Nope, it still has a latency error. Wow. So the video signal has essentially dropped considerably. Yeah. Let me try a new browser. Yeah. Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate it. This has been great. Yeah. There's latency errors at the server here. It won't even get me a decent signal out right now. So it went from high speed to no speed because people are downloading God knows what, Netflix. But I shouldn't affect my upload at all. I'm getting a latency error at this location. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the third part of our show. We'll be fusing them all together as we piece this show together best I can. Let me tell you what's been happening on this Freedom Friday. We have been attacked at every level. Whenever we tried to get into our VPN, we were DDoSed. And that means that when we're doing a show, they're systematically trying to shut us down. Now, that's not to say that they can't do it again. They can. They just gave up after about 45 minutes. I kept retrying until I finally got in. I also have some new software that I've downloaded so I can possibly maneuver around a little bit better tomorrow. But even broadcasting anonymously through a VPN has become problematic as we continue to try to fight for a strong message here. As you know, our president has been blackmailed by Russia. Yes, and it became evident in the final moments of the hearing when all the mainstream media people left. One of the congressmen asked a question about Robert Mueller and his knowledge of the blackmail that went on. And apparently, over 2 years now, Robert Mueller has known that President Trump has been blackmailed by Russia. That's serious, serious business, something we can't ignore. Yet Mueller didn't think it was a serious problem. And that's very serious, because Mueller is very likely working for the very people that put Russia in the square in the middle of our election process and controlled it. Yeah, which is very suspicious. The fact that Mueller didn't make a big deal about it 2 years ago is indicative of a person who's complicit in aiding and abetting a known felony. I don't care what your sexual preference is. Yeah, I don't care. Who cares if you're deviant or not? I don't care. You probably want to be deviant. I don't care. The point I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what your sexuality is. You can still believe in a third party. I'm not going to cater. I'm not going to cater to the far left, but I'm not going to discriminate against you either. That's the important thing, whereas Donald Trump would. So, in lieu of the fact that they're deep in their effort to hide the story that came out during the Mueller testimony 2 days ago, the mainstream media is now trying to frame this as a no non-starter, no big deal, no big major event talked about. They're acting like it's no big deal that Russia blackmailed Donald Trump. They didn't even mention it. Okay, so we're at that level where the media completely covers up the truth about Russia involvement in our government. Whenever Mueller was approached on the subject of Russian oligarchs that communicated with the Democrats, he said he couldn't talk about it. It wasn't under his purview. That's another weird aspect. It's like Russia has been controlling the Democrats for years too. And now they're controlling the very people in the party. The two-party system. William Barr clearly is standing up for Russia when he told Rod Rosenstein not to investigate Michael Flynn, who turned out to be a Russian agent. So it's like, okay, so William Barr, our Attorney General, is working for Russia. Lindsey Graham received over $800,000 to get reelected from a Russian oligarch. He's working for Russia. Mitch McConnell did the same. Received money from Russian oligarch to get reelected. He's working for Russia. So you've got all these people at the highest levels of government working for Russia. Of course there's no collusion in the minds of those people. They are absolutely on salary for Russia. Yeah. And there's Russians all around DC now, walking around, talking in Russian. Yeah. There's Russians everywhere. Not really, because the separate FBI investigation has stalled. 2 years now, we would have had a very serious FBI investigation into the blackmail of Donald Trump by Russia. Our national security is at risk. For 2 years, FBI has made no statements to this effect. Wray hasn't talked about this at all. We find out about it in the final minutes of that testimony from Mueller. This is absurd. In no way should this be moved to a separate FBI investigation either. It's a broad spectrum special prosecutor investigation. It should have included this. We've been back for a while, yeah. I'm doing an addendum to the show because we were DDoSed for 45 minutes at our VPN. It took me 45 minutes to sign into my VPN, which is bizarre. They are DDoSing my VPN. That's the only way they can stop me. So I finally got back in through, constant efforts to get in there. But their efforts to DDoS me is indicative of the fact that they want to suppress this information. The very people that are controlling our government from Russia or various other places are now controlling the message and the spin about this whole event. And they're trying to make it seem like Donald Trump can do no wrong. He's in every way in their mind a perfect puppet. I don't need a better VPN. They can find my VPN. It doesn't matter what my VPN is. The very fact that I can even broadcast and even get into the show with my VPN is a miracle in and of itself. Because remember, Mark bans 350 million VPNs. Right, well, I'm glad you found out about how to immigrate to the U.S. with $2 million. Good for you. But the reality is, these people are so hell-bent in covering up the story that was just revealed. The mainstream media won't talk about Trump being blackmailed by Russia. Even Robert Mueller said he knew nothing of what Jared Kushner was doing with a Russian oligarch trying to sell his property at 666 Fifth Avenue. I thought so too, Slow Modes. I thought so too. They are finding my VPN. No, they are. They're stopping me from actually getting into my VPN when I have perfectly good speeds coming out of my hotel. Every time I check it, they're perfectly fine. There may be some component to what you're saying that's true. You know, some people may be downloading porn at some point in you know, but that doesn't affect upload speeds, usually. I'm not going to karate chop anybody. The point is, what's going on here? You're witness to it. All of you are. And even Slow Modes is in total denial that this is happening. They can see a person accessing a site internally. Mark can give them the IP of my VPN. Well, if download speeds affects upload speeds, then you may have a point, but I seriously doubt it. Because since I started getting in here and getting back on the show, it took me 45 minutes to get back in here. I've had no problem whatsoever. I waited them out. They didn't see me on the show, so they figured, well, I'd drop off. And I waited them out, and here I am again. So this is an ongoing effort by these people to stop me because they're afraid of this message. And this message is deep. Apparently, James Comey knew that the Russians were blackmailing Donald Trump. And remember, his whole story was trivialized by the media, and they acted like he was, you know, of no value. But James Comey, I'm beginning to wonder what he is, whether he rigged the election in favor of Donald Trump, which he clearly did when he told everyone he was investigating Hillary Clinton 11 days before the election. And then he claimed it wouldn't affect the election because he knew she would win. I mean, that's absurd. The man must be an absolute idiot. Or he really is working for Russia. But his statements were indicative of Russian collusion as well. That he said that Trump was being blackmailed. So for over 2 years, our government has known that Trump is being blackmailed by Russia. For over 2 years. Think about it. And they've done nothing. And if it is true what Slow Mode says, that they're trying to move this to another FBI investigation, how come no one's speaking on it? I don't think that you understand the severity of what's happening here. We are under attack. Our nation is under attack right now. Are you with me? Do you understand what I'm saying? It may not come as heavy as the tones of what I'm saying may not come ringing in your ears, but we're clearly being controlled by Russian influence at every level. They're camping out in our room. They're trying to promote themselves. They're trying to knock me off my servers. They're trying to censor our show at every level. They've got a guy named Ghost who's producing a show to alternate during this time that I'm on vacation with Sarah. They're trying to actually shut down. Do I seem medicated? No, I'm not. I'm just talking slowly, like lightly into a microphone because I don't want to wake Sarah up if I can avoid it. And I'm in a hotel room where I don't have the privilege of having a studio, you know. It's something I haven't really secured here. I don't have a 2-room suite. That's why I'm talking, you know, light. But this ongoing problem with them trying to stop our show, come in here and promote Trump, censor any media in the mainstream media about what Mueller has revealed, that Trump was being blackmailed, and he knew it. The other fact that Mueller has been investigating this as a conspiracy came out in this testimony 2 days ago. It's not considered collusion. It's considered a conspiracy that Trump conspired with Russia. I have a whole series of soothing meditation videos that I've produced but never actually sold them. I gave one of them away to a chiropractor once, but they didn't bother doing anything with it. I've done over 4 or 5 hours of meditation videos, but I've never revealed them to anyone. I use them for my own purposes. This is the thing. The entire Roger Stone trial coming up in November has been circumvented in some ways by a recent statement that Roger Stone cannot talk to the media, that what his actions have been, trying to subvert the case by talking to the media. The whole idea of labeling Roger Stone as a perpetrator in this case is absurd. Roger Stone has no involvement whatsoever in the WikiLeaks. He was merely monitoring what was going on. The very act of Mueller using Roger Stone as a reason to redact 9% of the 448-page document is in and of itself suspicious. It's like he's cloaking information with some BS story about Roger Stone. Now, need I remind you that Mueller did not investigate some of the serious stories like Seth Rich, who we know was killed. He wasn't just killed in the street with 3 shots to the back. They removed the bullets at the hospital. They were ready to debride the wound and clean it up when they were told to stand away from his room, that he was a VIP, and even the hospital workers weren't allowed to help him. They virtually killed Seth Rich in the hospital because he knew too much. Now, why didn't Mueller investigate that? Why are Seth Rich's parents saying they don't want to know who the perpetrator was that killed their son? That's a little weird, don't you think? Who would want their son's death to go unnoticed and find out who the perp was? His parents have openly said they don't want anyone to investigate it. That's suspicious. That means somebody got to them to shut them up. I don't think that the fact that Roger Stone is in the loop here, I think it's completely irrelevant. Roger Stone doesn't appear to be a person who had any firsthand knowledge of anything. He's just a guy that likes to be in the public eye. So for Mueller to put Roger Stone out there and to redact 9% of the document because of that is just another smokescreen. My God, just stand back and realize that Mueller has for 2 years not investigated the blackmail issue. That our president, he knew full well that our president was being blackmailed by Russia, and he didn't say anything to the American public. If it is some sort of an FBI second investigation, they haven't said anything about it. Do you realize the overtones of this? That means that no one in our government is trying to intercept Russia's involvement in the election and in the blackmailing of our president. That is a serious problem. Now, I'm probably one of the only people in the country who's talking about this right now. And you're lucky enough to be in my room because I came back on the show because I am going to keep trying, no matter what, to get past these censors who are trying to shut me down. That's nice, you're wearing sandals. Mad Dog made a good point. What's more perplexing is he didn't investigate the Democratic collusion. I agree. And I've taken a different stance on Devin Nunes now that he evaded any scrutiny by his own party. I believe Devin Nunes is onto something too. I think that he's uncovering the truth about Russian involvement with the Democrats. I agree with you in that sense. Yeah. From a completely objective perspective, both parties are involved with Russian influence and money. Russia actually sends money to our politicians to get reelected. Like I said earlier, Mitch McConnell got hundreds of thousands. Lindsey Graham got 800,000 to get reelected over the past 3 years from a Russian oligarch. All that's happening. I'm sure Democrats are getting money from Russia to get reelected. And I know a lot of senators and congressmen have to actually meet and talk in session about this issue in a top secret room. I'm serious. I have fairly good knowledge. I'm not going to tell you how, but I know for a fact that my representative was in a top secret meeting on the issues when Mueller was being questioned. Now that means that people are being briefed privately, without press, without anyone talking about it, about how to handle this. There's some sort of an undercurrent of corruption that's going through both Democrat and Republican parties to try to keep a lid on the Russian involvement in our government. That means there's more than just collusion. It's conspiratorial in nature. Much like Mueller said, he was looking at it as a conspiracy, and he does believe that he cannot exonerate Donald Trump in this conspiracy. That's what Mueller said. But he won't go out to say the ultimate things, which is really what we were waiting for. He's instead made a few veiled statements that are extremely disturbing. The simple fact that he knew nothing of Jared Kushner's purchase of or sale of his property at 666 Fifth Avenue to a Russian oligarch. He knew nothing about that, he said. It was almost like Schultz on the Hogan's Heroes. I know nothing. Mueller knew nothing about this. It was in the news, okay? So people on the know, on the Beltway, are saying that Mueller is just a puppet and a shill. And he just signs off on things like, they come to his house and say, okay, you're going to give us your assessment of this. And he doesn't know anything. Mueller is a complete shill. He did it for the money. Now, we know that Mueller signed off on the 9/11 Commission report in 2001 saying there was no demolition whatsoever. When everyone, including thousands of architects and engineers who looked at 9/11, have said that it was clearly a demolition. So everything Mueller has said has been a lie. And now this man is actually saying that it's the new norm for American politicians to take information gathered by foreign governments against their opponents and use it against them without having to reveal it to the FBI, which is exactly what Donald Trump did. Donald Trump knew that the FBI were investigating. Donald Trump knew that the Russians had actually helped him in the election. He was choreographing it with Donald Trump Jr. And what's really interesting is Mueller said that he knows for a fact that Donald Trump Jr. did not meet the attorney to end sanctions to talk about ending sanctions. And Mueller is relying on Donald Trump Jr.'s flipped testimony. Remember, Donald Trump Jr. said that he was meeting the Russian attorney to end sanctions to talk about adoptions of Russians. And then, according to Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Donald Trump himself weighed in on it the next day. And then Donald Trump Jr. changed his testimony, saying he was trying to get dirt on Hillary on the emails, which never passed muster. So Mueller is using that as a defense argument to claim that the attorney to end sanctions didn't really want to meet with Donald Trump Jr. to end sanctions at all, which is absurd. I don't trust Mueller at all. I think he's working for the deep state. Yeah, I really do. And I think that Trump is too. And Trump is caught up in a very, very vicious game of blackmail. And he can't get out. He's kind of like a fish out of water who's being fed some water through his gills to keep going. He's just, flapping around, and he does one thing really well, and that's lie. And because nobody can call him on his lies, because the Republicans are constantly saying, oh, it's all fake news. He's lied over 5,000 times. It doesn't take 5,000 lies to make a person a liar. It just takes one lie to make a person a liar. But you Republicans won't even admit that one lie. Like he was going to prosecute Hillary. Never did. He lied about it. Like he was going to look into the birth certificate issue, which 1/3 of America still thinks is very serious. He never did. He gave it up. He's clearly gone against his word when he said he would gladly show you 10 years of his tax return, no problem. He's clearly lying because he won't show 10 years of his tax returns. These are things that are staring you Republicans right in the face. No, I have read the report. That's not funny at all. Mueller did drop bombshells in that interview, many of them. I saw them in real time. Okay? Oh yeah, the media is characterizing him as not important. It's all about how the media is painting this. He just let out all kinds of things. Mueller admitted that Donald Trump was being blackmailed by Russia. I told you that. I've given you links to that. Mueller admitted that he didn't know anything about Kushner and the deal with the Russian oligarch. Mueller also said it wasn't within his purview to talk about Russian relations with the Democrats that he may or may not be aware of, which is also in the record. These are bombshell stories that should have been brought to the mainstream media, and we should be talking about it right now. Instead, you're just citing the same old BS the spin coming out of the mainstream media, slow modes. But either way, you're still just diverting
You're not really getting to the meat and potatoes of this issue. I not only have proven to you that I will not give in to the Illuminati pressure, I have sustained a show for 10 years without a single penny of income. I've maintained a free show for actually going on 11 years now without a penny of income from it. And you have seen people like Mark and others who no longer even broadcast because they have so much money from censoring me. United American doesn't broadcast anymore. T. Rucker doesn't broadcast. These people are making so much money. I mean, T. Rucker faked his death just to get out from under the potential threats of prison. We know that for a fact. So when we keep this show going, it's to fight these people who are trying to censor us. Not to stand there and let you people watch the show going, yeah, Dave, you're making that all up. Mark doesn't make a lot of money. He's kind of poor. Mark just bought a suite at Wynn Hotel. Mark just bought a brand new 2020 Corvette for $68,000. Mark just bought apparently a helicopter ride over Vegas, which he shows on his show. I mean, just look into it, please. I mean, you have no idea the money flying behind the scenes to stop this show and my criticism of this president. Yes, Mark did buy a suite at the Wynn. Mark is actually making unbelievable amounts of money. Unbelievable. How else do you think he props this show up? He's even got a guy named Ghost he's put out there to try to stop me and take over the time slot. They're doing everything they can to stop me. And you people who are looking at this going, I don't know, Dave, it sounds kind of wacky, like you're a conspiracy theorist. Mueller admitted that he's looking into a conspiracy with Donald Trump. There's no such thing as a conspiracy theorist anymore. We're conspiracy factists. People that are revealing facts ahead of others. This whole thing with Trump and Russia is a conspiracy. Okay, so he paid for a helicopter ride for $400, but I understand that he goes to Vegas all the time, and that's a fact. Now, how can Mark afford to go to Vegas all the time? Come on, people, you can't be that out of it that you don't realize it. No, he bought a suite. That's what I was told. It's like $650,000 to get a suite at Wynn. He bought into it. He owns a suite at Wynn. Hello? Whatever. I've cited countless pieces of evidence to back me up that the censorship's been going on for years. For 9 years, I've had the same number of subscribers on YouTube. For 9 years, I've had the same number of followers on Twitter. I broadcast over 30,000 hours instructing people to go to my websites and become followers and subscribers. Yet I have the same number in 9 years. How is that technically possible? The only way is they're shadow banning me and they're purposely keeping my numbers and locking my hit counters. That's the only credible explanation for all of that. They want you to believe that this show isn't that big of a deal. That's why they limit your ability to get in here. Many of you have to hit the refresh button 50, 60, 100 times just to get into our show. And that's true. Mark claims he's censoring 350 million VPNs. That's not just to stop trolls. That's to stop the message from getting out from people coming in here. They can't stop the message from getting out because it keeps getting rebroadcast. So when you talk about all these different factors that you think Mark is poor, Mark is not doing anything, and I show you ways in which he's stopping us. There are people that come in here and tell me they've gotten $5,000 just to dox us. There are people that write me emails saying that they're rich and they feel guilty because they made so much money attacking our show. I'm just telling you. Anyway, in lieu of all that, even other shows are having a hard time getting started up.
when we were up to 38 guest chatters about a month and a half ago at iVlog, iVlog decided to change their policies immediately. And at that night, when I had 38 guest chatters, our guest chatters went down to 1. And they changed their policy saying you have to actually have an email address to become a guest chatter at iVlog. Right under our nose, they tried to change their policy right in the middle of our show. And then my viewership went from 38 down to 5. And I'm at 5 now. That's what they're doing at iVlog. And I understand prior to that, Mark made them an offer to attack our show or shut it down. All I can say is money has a very powerful influence over people. And when they get tons of money thrown at them, they'll do anything. Most people will. I won't, because I don't care about money. I'm not connected to the material world like many of you are. I know that sounds odd, but I'm not, for some reason. But these people who do whatever they have to do to get their money, they have this completely weird sense of ethics where, hey, they'd stick a knife in somebody's back if it was enough money they got paid. They don't care. They really wouldn't care. Yes, well, Mark has got, they say Mark has $900 million from this whole process. So he's not as rich as Trump, but he's made nearly $1 billion. That's what they're saying to me. I get people writing me emails saying such a thing. That's their excuse. They said it was to stop trolls. They made an email request to have some sort of two-party verification, so they could have an email request, so they would have stopped people from rejoining under another name as they got banned. That's not the case, though. They have an IP feature at iVlog where they can actually, when a guest gets kicked, they can actually keep that IP out, and they worked great. And you notice that iVlog never had the ability to spam, ever. Well, that's inherent in the flash system that they use, and it made it possible for them to actually stop an IP. There was no real credible reason why they'd require email verification for people to guest chat over iVlog. That does not fly. It doesn't make sense. No. The idea that they had to have an email address in order to be banned, that was not the case. They were able to ban IPs over there from any guest chat anywhere in the world. The problem is they were getting too many, too fast, and they shut us down that night. This is like a month and a half ago. Yeah, that's true. With a dynamic IP changer, you can do that, but there's only a few people that really exploit that, like Melco. He has one of those. Most people just say, yeah, I got kicked out, I'm not going back into the room. Whatever. Or they had a 1 hour delay time. The excuse that iVlog is using doesn't fly. They're lying, flat out lying. I remember the day that this happened. You know, we had a guy from Thailand trying to reach me who had had put a bunch of cash together to get some sort of a flip phone to made a text message in our room. And it was very important to him that he get a message out. And it's like, uh-oh, this guy is trying to actually talk from a third world nation. Stop that guy. And then instantly all guest chat disappeared that night. It happened right in front of me. Some guy was trying to make a desperate plea for help. And I've gotten a lot of these people. Back in the days when Mark allowed guest chat, I had a lot of these people coming into the show saying they were desperate for food in China. It really doesn't matter to me the technology behind rotating a dynamic IP and changing a bank of IPs. That's not the point. Most people don't have that ability. iVlog wouldn't have changed their policy because of 1 or 2 people that are attacking the show. They changed it because they get too many hits for our show. They had to shut it down. I'm telling you, these people are getting paid to stop me. It just makes it difficult for me to stand here and talk to people that just disbelieve that incessantly, then have to have verifiable proof to believe anything. When I show you aberrations, statistical aberrations, like the hit counters on our site being the same as they were 9 years ago, the subscriber numbers, the follower numbers, that alone should make you convinced that I'm being censored. But no, you actually need more proof than that. It's amazing. You're not going to be able to get that proof because I can't subpoena Mark for his deed to his suite at the Wynn Hotel, nor am I privy to the Wynn Hotel's records. But they told me he bought a suite at the Wynn Hotel about 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's what I'm hearing. I have enough proof that people are getting paid to attack me based on what happened, 2008. One of our supporters said, "Hey, I want to just try this out." Some guy says if I contact him, they'll give me $100. And I said, "Well, do what you got to do." The guy said, "Yeah, he got $100 to his PayPal account like that." That was back in 2008. That's when the money was small. Now these guys who dox us get like $5,000 during a doxing session. And the money's being transferred from Lot Lizard, from Mark to Lot Lizard, and he's the guy who's doing the interim work. We're dealing with gang stalkers here. Now, if you people who are just disbelievers in everything don't start getting sophisticated pretty soon, you've already seen your government been hijacked by Russians. You've seen the election rigged by Russians, and you're still disbelieving that there's a conspiracy, quote unquote. Mueller just said he's looking into the conspiracy of Donald Trump being influenced by the Russians. Well, you're apparently not tracking what's really happening behind the scenes, slow modes. This guy at Lot Lizard has sent out numerous hate videos against me. He's impersonated, claiming he's my brother. He claims he's running for president. There's a whole series of atrocities that have been committed under his name, doxing included, in which he could serve many, many years in jail for what he's done. And we have solid proof of his doxing activity, including T. Rucker's. I can't move in a direction to sue people that are getting tons of money trying to attack our show. It would be foolish for me to launch a lawsuit against these people. We know. The bottom line is these people are gang stalkers. Lot Lizard was complicit with many other people in getting me kicked off my live show at YouTube. Exactly. Guess 869 asks, is Lot Lizard some kind of financial partner to Mark so he can distribute payola? That's exactly what he is. Yeah. He's a partner in crime. The RICO Act will apply to Mark, T. Rucker, Lot Lizard, and United American, and a few others. I will be using the RICO Act to prosecute them all. Once we declare, it's not an incredible leap of logic at all, no. No, not at all. We know for a fact that Lot Lizard broadcasted from Las Vegas, where he got a free trip paid for by Mark to rag on me and call me out. I have the video to prove it. T. Rucker did the same thing, claiming he made so much money on me, and I'm an idiot, he says. All these people are willing to do the dirtiest deeds of censorship and attacks and doxing in order to make them this money. That's what they're able to do. They think it's kind of cool that they're able to make all this money while I continue to fight for a third party in America. And you people who are like on the border going, I don't believe Dave, I think he just doesn't have a good program together and he's not really pushing himself in the media and he hasn't bought any TV spots. You are an absolute idiot if you think that the mainstream media would even give me a second of time. United American did doxing twice on record, and he got paid $75,000 each time by Mark. That much we do know. Beyond that, he hasn't broadcast his show at all, so he doesn't need the money. That's not a leap of logic, that's a fact. Hey, 869, you don't belong here. You're obviously one of the enemy. Later. It does. It meets the requirements for racketeering if I can convince the federal prosecutors that doxing occurred, and I can. I have enough evidence. Once you have one felony, you can apply the RICO Act. I'm not planning on suing him. I plan on prosecuting him when I'm president. If I were to sue him right now, he'd have 4 or 5 lawyers sue me back. It would be a waste of my time, and it would be very costly. I don't think you understand that people who are making lots of dirty money have lots of money to sue back. I mean, anybody can sue anybody in this world they have lots of money, especially illegal money, the money that's been transferred illegally. Now, Mark cannot prove that he has hundreds of thousands of VIP users, so he can't validate the income he makes. It is a felony. All felonies apply to the RICO Act. We could even go so far as to say that yes, they can. Yes, they can. Felonious doxing is a violation of the RICO Act, just like swatting people is. No, Larry's been put to rest for tonight, Hot Rails. I played it earlier in the previous section, which I'll be fusing these videos together tonight to make a complete YouTube video. But I had to go through 45 minutes of doxing on my VPN to get into the show to broadcast again. That's how serious this problem is. Not necessarily, no. If you're willing to commit felonious acts against somebody by exposing their address, which could lead to death and dismemberment, it's like a death threat, no different. Like if a guy, say a mobster goes up and says to Stormy Daniels, hey, you better drop that Trump thing, which according to Stormy happened. No, I'm not. I don't ever look frail. You've been muted, Eric. It's the lighting, Eric. You're an idiot. Organized crime has been working various angles of threats, and included tax fraud, just one of them. If somebody were to say to Stormy Daniels, you better drop that Trump thing. Oh, what a pretty little daughter. We wouldn't want anything bad to happen to her mother, would we? Now that's a direct threat. That's a direct threat to Stormy Daniels. Michael Avenatti should have used that to file a lawsuit against Donald Trump, not defamation of character. Avenatti's an idiot for applying that. Of course Donald Trump won on that case. Direct threats of pain, dismemberment, torture by mobsters always are used in the RICO Act, not just tax fraud. Where are you getting information? Man, I mean, it's almost like you're an FBI agent who doesn't understand the RICO Act. That's what it looks like to me, Slow-Mos. I mean, are you an FBI agent? Because you certainly seem like one. Camped out in our show every night. You people aren't doing your job. Go right ahead. Look at the law. Sure. That provides for extended, the Racketeering Influence and Corruption Organization Act, commonly referred to as RICO Act, or simply RICO, is a federal law that provides for extended criminal penalties in a civil cause of actions for acts performed as part of an ongoing criminal investigation. Okay? Yeah. Criminal penalties in a civil cause of action for acts performed as part of an ongoing criminal investigation. I mean, it doesn't get much clearer than that. It doesn't just talk about tax fraud. My God. Your sublime minimal knowledge of the RICO Act is exemplary. Having to be frisked by people at the airports is absurd. It's utterly absurd. I mean, we don't need TSA officers. They cost $7 billion a year, sitting there on their fat asses. God knows what they're doing under those newspapers in their lap.
Yeah, while they look at your junk as you go through the rapid scanner, causing irreparable DNA damage to your chromosomes. Nice, huh? And you people are, look at, slow modes has been obviously a bad element in our show for some time. Slow modes has been, I believe, almost like a weight, like an anvil in the water when we're trying to make headway here. Yeah, so just don't even say anything, slow modes. It's better you just not pipe up. If you don't know what you're talking about, there's nothing worse than a little knowledge. And sir, you have a little knowledge. That's all you've got. You constantly contradict me, slow modes. You're of no value to me in this show. No, the law doesn't state that it's just a tax fraud issue. Any felony can elevate the RICO Act to criminal prosecution. Any felony. Molestation, Jeffrey Epstein, all the people in the Nixivium cult of Keith Raniere, that was all furtive ground for the RICO Act. It still is. What they're trying to do is censor our show, Mark and the others. And I'm going to apply any felony I can when I'm president to launch a criminal action against them. Again, the law does not specifically state tax fraud is the only thing that'll elevate the RICO Act to a higher status. Doesn't say that. You're lying. And I'm going to put you on mute because I really don't need you in the show. Thank you. Now, the real issue here is not how I'm going to prosecute these people for censoring me. The real issue is our country is under attack by Russia, and Mueller doesn't care. And claiming it's not within his purview to discuss the Russian blackmailing of our president is absurd. Of course it's in his purview to discuss it. He should have reported it. And the fact that he didn't report it to the American people is a gross violation of the Espionage Act. He's committing espionage in total back of Russia, Mueller is. By not reporting a crime, he's complicit in the crime. I mean, it's that simple. Yeah, good point. Nobody frisked at the airport has ever been caught. Stormy didn't just have a bad lawyer. She got screwed by that lawyer. I mean, it's pretty financially messed up for her. Stormy Daniels has to pay $235,000 to Donald Trump in damages. She's better off declaring bankruptcy. What Michael Avenatti did during that time period was he crowdfunded $435,000 for his election for presidency, even though he claimed he was helping her, which is illegal. You can't crowdfund and get money for an election. It's totally illegal. I can't use crowdfunding or GoFundMe to get any money. It's illegal. And second of all, Michael Avenatti didn't pay his rent for about a year. He completely stiffed his lease on his legal buildings, his law offices. So not only did he make $435,000 on crowdfunding, but he stiffed his law office payment, and he didn't pay them. So, and then he's been indicted now for, I believe, 15 counts of extortion against Nike. I mean, Stormy Daniels got bad representation, let's just put it that way. No, we didn't do a cooking show. No, how to cook while traveling? Get some pizza and heat it up in the microwave. It's far better. Yeah, just don't waste your time. I pan cooked some pizza that was really good that we got for lunch. I added some bacon to it, and voila, dinner. Yeah, it's not easy traveling. This entire summer has been grueling, absolutely grueling. Even going on and having to go back online all the time just to get in here is ridiculous. I had to literally hit my VPN to try to connect for 45 minutes to get back into the show. Finally, I got things rolling again. Partly because the people that are trying to stop me just gave up knocking on my VPN down. I'm in New York? No, I'm not in New York. Why? Why do you think I'm in New York?
Oh, from the background. I see. Yeah. This is the Chrysler building I'm standing above, but that's just a green screen. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep the show rolling because we got so many things we really need to talk about. Mostly the fact that they're lying to us, and they're very desperate to shut this show down. So that makes me wonder if I'm not, really onto them. I really think I am. I've seen this whole thing play out. I've even talked about it 8 months before Trump was even elected. The fact is, Trump knew Russia was rigging the election during that period of time, and he never said anything to the FBI. That's why when asked if he would do it again, he said yes, he would do it again. He's willing to commit felonies. And what's really crazy is Robert Mueller thinks this is the new norm for people who are running against somebody to get dirt from our foreign enemies. And that's something that he just says is the new norm. There's nothing he can do. That's not the work of a federal prosecutor. That's the work of an idiot who doesn't understand the law. I knew that Robert Mueller was oblivious to legal matters when he said that he didn't have to testify again. Remember that? Yeah, about 2 weeks ago he said he'll never testify again, and then here he is testifying 2 days ago. He doesn't understand that everyone has to testify if they're called in by Congress. I mean, what a fool. That's the man that we've had as a special prosecutor investigating Donald Trump? He's an idiot. He's a fool. He should never have been this person. This man is a barrier to the American people getting the truth. Now, as you know, I can't VPN in my home computer because I shut it off for security reasons. I'm not using Wi-Fi. How do you know I'm not Ethernetted to a hotel? Most jacks have Ethernets now. Anyway, the fact that he doesn't have a clear understanding of the law and he was a special prosecutor is very suspicious. The fact that he signed off on the 9/11 Commission report back in 2001 when clearly there was a demolition or at least explosions occurred and no one acknowledged that is very suspicious. The fact that we haven't caught the alleged Saudi Arabians that did this terrible deed, killed 2,996 people in 9/11 attack, and the fact that a government doesn't even care about finding the perpetrators, doesn't that raise suspicions to you? The fact that Gina Haspel tortured a guy 68 times, waterboarding him in order to get a confession that he was a friend of Osama bin Laden and was helping him somehow. He lied just to stop the waterboardings. Gina Haspel literally tried to hide the evidence of those waterboardings, and she's still director of the CIA. Doesn't that raise a suspicion in your mind? That she was allowed to do all that? And no one's even bothered to investigate who these people are, where they are right now? There's supposedly 18 Saudi Arabians that did this terrible deed. Where are they? No one's even bothering to look into this. So if you really are that fooled by all the BS the mainstream media has pitched about 9/11, that somehow we're supposed to just kick back and say, oh, well, we got the guy, Osama bin Laden, and they killed him in Abbottabad. That wasn't Osama bin Laden. It was a fake entire event. The guy was an imposter. I can prove it to you. His face is different. I could never ask Mark to set up anything up. Mark works for the Russians. I can't imagine you even saying such a thing. How absurd. Wow. It's obvious a lot of you have your head in the sand, like ostriches. You have no clue as to how bad off this country is, nor how censored I am. It's strange to me that I have to even do a show talking to some of you people because you're that out of it. Anyway, the reality is they never caught anybody, even at the airports. Guess 484 says. Yeah. And I'll tell you something. Donald Trump has not prosecuted Hillary Clinton for obviously the Haitian money laundering deal that happened with the Clinton Foundation. obvious Haitian money laundering. She got $5.3 billion, and hardly any of it went to the Haitian people. Easy prosecution. You could apply the RICO Act to that. And then there's the other issue of Elizabeth Warren, which I was the one that first talked about her needing a DNA test, and then all of a sudden Donald Trump is saying, oh, Pocahontas should get a DNA test. Using my line, she gets a DNA test, it pops out at less than half of 1% Native American, which is actually less than what Indo-Europeans have, most of us, in our bloodstream. He doesn't prosecute Elizabeth Warren. She's still out there making news in the Democratic Party. He doesn't charge her with fraud for committing lies and perjury in her affirmative action documents when she got all that money to go to college. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't follow up on the thing that he stole from me to paint her out as some sort of a bad person, because Donald Trump is not allowed to prosecute Elizabeth Warren. The people running Donald Trump don't want these people pulled out of the loop. They want them in there as paid, controlled opposition. They love the fact that Elizabeth Warren spins off at the left, sounding like a communist half the time. They love it. They love it that Ilhan Omar, who clearly married her brother to give him the U.S. citizenship, her gay brother, why wouldn't they prosecute her? Why wouldn't Donald Trump be using the ICE Department, U.S. Customs and Immigration to prosecute Ilhan Omar right now? Why isn't he doing that? He has more than enough evidence she married her brother, because she's another controlled opposition player. She's part of this drama that plays out every day. They don't want her gone. They want to paint her as an outright Muslim activist who is off the top. They want to stigmatize her. They want to scapegoat her. That's why Donald Trump isn't allowed to fire any of these people, because he's clearly working for the people that protect him, the ones that have all the dirt on him. Like I said earlier, Russia has been blackmailing Donald Trump for over 2 years, and that's not a serious issue with our government right now. Russia clearly has a stake deep into the very fabric of our government. Oh yeah, both Democrat and Republican. Now, if you're really patriotic, as I am, you don't want your country to be bought off by Russian oligarchs or people who are trying to push for a new world order. You'd want to fight that. You would want to sit back and go, well, what am I going to do? Oh, golly, you know. But apparently you are. Apparently many of us are just going back, yeah, what are you going to do? You know. I was in a breakfast in a hotel, and I was listening to a lot of people talk about a third party. Believe it or not, they kept saying, yeah, we just need a new third party. It would be great. We could stop this corruption. Clearly the Republicans are off, and clearly the Democrats are off. And I couldn't say a damn thing, because my security is at risk. If I tell people what I'm doing and how I've been censored in this country, my security is at risk. Plus, they wouldn't believe me anyway. Most people would not believe that this country censors people in America, that they keep people from getting into the mainstream media with a huge iron fist. Most people would say, oh, well, anybody who really wants to start a third party could easily do it, if asked. They would never know that we are just as censored as North Korea. They would never know it. Just like Slow Modes doesn't believe a thing I say regarding the censorship that's been going on. Anyway, this ongoing problem is not going to be fixed with us sitting around talking about it. It's never going to be fixed, but at least we can talk about it. They're trying to keep me from talking about it. That's how fearful they are. Now, I was at a meeting this past week with some top officials in the government, and all I was doing was talking about general issues, and they told me to shut up. I'm not going to give you any specifics, but they don't want people to ask questions. Seriously. The more active I am in approaching these people, the more they want to tell me to shut up. Why is that? as I pry open the truth about our government and make specific statements about certain aspects of our government that just don't make a lot of sense to me, they tell me to shut up. It's happened time and time again. I'm not kidding either. I wish I could clarify it with more validity, because I'd tell you about all the places I've been, but I'm going to tell you that when I get done with my trip. Now, Elisa Milano, a raging liberal, believes that, because William Barr wants to actually reinstate the death penalty on a federal level, which I think is the best thing he can do. It's an idea I've been promoting for many, many years now. Somehow that negates the pro-life narrative. Yeah. So in other words, this Elisa Milano believes that people who are murderers, serial killers, are on the same level as women who abort their babies. I mean, what an absurd statement. I'm sorry, but if you're willing to abort your baby, you're not a serial killer, okay? And the right wing who wants to support public executions and protect the lives of unborn infants have every right to believe whatever they want to believe. And frankly, she doesn't have the right to condemn anybody except through her freedom of speech. And we can condemn her now. Well, I don't even know who she is. Hey, meta-nemesis. I don't even track who these people are. Unlike you, I don't, admire the beautiful people. I'm not impressed. That doesn't faze me. Whoever they are, wherever they are, I'm sure they're legends in their own mind. Well, the reality is the mob killed JFK. That's the reality. I seriously doubt if he's buried in Arlington Cemetery. I believe JFK is sitting in a vat of formaldehyde in Long Island, New York, in a basement, some mobster's house. I really believe that. Officer Tibbet is in Arlington Cemetery. The day that JFK was killed, Officer Tibbet was killed in the same manner, in the same place, right in the same area of Dallas, blown through the head with a bullet. What's the likelihood that two people who literally look alike would be killed the same day in the same manner within a few hours of each other? I mean, that's absurd. Of course the mob killed JFK. It wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald. The government covered it up. Lee Harvey Oswald was working for the CIA for 5 years. Operation Monarch, an attempt to assassinate Fidel Castro and trigger a war. Lee Harvey Oswald was an agent of the U.S. government, and none of that information was presented in the Warren Report. None. Officer Tibbet in this story wasn't even brought into the Warren Report. Nothing. So we've been lied to about so many things, it's not even funny. The idea that we even have a government that's doing any oversight is absurd. Yeah, we've had cover-up after cover-up after cover-up by our supposed representatives of democracy. These people are a bunch of prostitutes. I've seen them firsthand. I've walked in their office. I see them in their whole mannerism. It evokes this sense of elitism. I've seen many representatives firsthand in Congress that are literally living in a world where they think they're a rock star. I'd love to show you films of it, but unfortunately I don't have their permission to show you these stuck-up pricks that walk around D.C. I wish I could, but I don't. I can't get the rights to show them as stuck-up pricks. But they think they're all rock stars. It's unbelievably pathetic. And when you go in and look at it firsthand, I like to study things when I look into anything. I like to study them. I study the political environment of Washington. It's always been a fascination of mine. But I know full well that their entire purpose has been gutted. If they started out honest, they're basically corrupt pieces of shit now, who are easily buyable or manipulatable. And Mad Dog asked me, well, what makes you think you're going to stop the Illuminati? I'm not cut out of the same fabric or cloth that you people are cut out of. I can't be bought. I can't be manipulated. My core goes against the authority of totalitarian thinking. I fight for the individual. I fight for the freedoms and rights that all of us possess. And we have every right to redress any grievance we have with our government at any time. And when they tell me to shut up when I approach them, they're violating the Constitution. They are. In the Constitution, the government's purpose is to support our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. The government's purpose is to support your freedom, your individual rights, your pursuit of happiness. It's not the right of the government to impose unnecessarily restrictions on you, like traffic tickets, where there's no harm done. They don't have the right to charge you with a crime when you've committed no crimes. It's completely illegal. When you look at the 16th Amendment, you see how illegal that is, that the government taxes you for wages and compensation. The 16th Amendment forbids that. Yet here you are, some of your waiters and waitresses getting taxed ridiculous amounts by the government on money that you may have not even earned, because you can't guarantee what your tips are going to be at any time. Yet they're continuing to pull the wool over the American people's eyes and do this. Anyway, the overwhelming tendency for our government to cave in to totalitarian means of controlling the population is a gross violation of our Constitution. Our individual freedoms are paramount. States have more rights than the federal government under our existing Constitution. Yet we've seen the opposite of that take place. We've seen a government that's willing to abandon the laws of posse comitatus, which prevents the army from used against its own people. They can now use the army against its own people in America. Under NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, they're actually allowed to suspend various acts that were created by our government to stop propaganda, like the Smith-Mundt Act, which was put together to stop Hitler-style propaganda from happening in America. They suspended it in 2012 under Barack Obama and reissued that statement in 2018 under Trump. They can now lie to us if they think it's in our best interest. They think it's in our best interest. They can lie to us legally. Unbelievable. So as the world sat around and did nothing and watched, these people took more and more power upon themselves. Now, computer scientists say that they have strong evidence the election was rigged against Clinton in 3 key states. Wow, that's interesting, bright chart. Let me take a look at that.
Rigged system. I've been saying it for a long time. You can't review 650,000 new emails in 8 days. You can't do it, folks. Hillary Clinton is guilty. She knows it. The FBI knows it. The people know it. And now it's up to the American people to deliver justice at the ballot box on November 8th.
Wow, that hat is not very becoming on him. A group of renowned computer scientists and lawyers have urged Hillary Clinton to challenge the election results in 3 key states after they gathered evidence to suggest the election results were potentially manipulated. Yeah. It is old news, but it's certainly relevant. This is 2016, yeah. I'm sure that I could even claim that James Comey helped Donald Trump directly by claiming he was opening a criminal investigation against Hillary Clinton during that time period. I could also claim that he purposely violated the law when he didn't reveal that he had solid evidence or even non-solid evidence against Trump when the dossier arrived 5 months earlier. So they've known for over 2 years that Donald Trump is being blackmailed by Russia, and our government's done nothing. Sarah's trying to sleep while I'm finishing up the show. I was kicked off the internet tonight for 45 minutes from DDoSing attacks against my VPN. It took me that long to reconstruct a strategy to get back into the show. Believe it or not. That's how bad off they are. They're fearful that this show continues to spread the truth about what's happening in our country. I've been studying this paradigm for years and how the two-party system is purposefully designed to keep us separated and give us the illusion of choice. Right versus left, thinking you can choose left versus right is not a choice. You're being rediverted like an animal into a stall for slaughter. The more you vote Democrat as a Democrat, the less anything will happen. The more you vote Republican as a Republican, the less anything will happen. You're simply acting like cattle. You need to start being thinking people who understand and are more aware of the corruption in our government. Otherwise, we're never going to get out of this situation. In fact, they've got plans for us, and it's not good. You think our freedom is under attack now? They're getting ready to do all kinds of things to us. RFID chip us if we don't get a vaccine. There's a solid effort to do that. They really want to get people herd inoculated, and there's no evidence that works. So I think we have a bigger problem right now in that we have a country that doesn't have a third party. You can claim that, you just don't think it's going to win, and there's no reason to believe a third party will ever succeed. But then you'd be, basically part of the problem, wouldn't you? By simply saying that. By disbelieving something like a third party, you are becoming the problem. If you have to believe in something in order to make it happen, most everything starts very small and has to endure years and years of opposition before it can actually reach mainstream media. Look at the Jeffrey Epstein case. It took 3 years for that story to go from the blogosphere, where we talked about it, to the mainstream media. 3 years for the Jeffrey Epstein case to get to the forefront. And even to this day, people are wondering, will Jeffrey Epstein turn evidence against some of the people that he's been involved with? And I think those people are wondering too. That's why I don't think Jeffrey Epstein's going to last very long in prison. They're going to make it look like a suicide. They're going to try to get rid of him because they don't want him speaking out. If he has the goods on all these other people he's been servicing with his human trafficking of children, you can only imagine how deep that circle goes. Let's remember Deborah Palfrey, the madam in D.C. that claimed she had solid evidence that there was a cover-up of 9/11. And she also told Alex Jones that she would never commit suicide. She was strung up in her closet or in her shed outside her house the next day, hanging from the rafter. Deborah Palfrey, the day after she said she had solid evidence of a cover-up in 9/11, she was killed. And after she said she would never kill herself, she was killed. People, if you think it's an isolated incident, it's happening to just a few people, that's what they thought about Germany and the Jews. They thought only a few Jewish people were being killed, or even not even killed, sent to concentration camps, but they didn't even call it that, relocated. So this is a very slow process by which your freedoms are being extracted, suppressed, because you're not fighting for your freedom. It atrophies like a muscle, slowly becoming weak and limp, unable to do anything. Gradually, you won't have any freedom at all. I made some statements to some people, and they told me to shut up. And they don't want to hear the truth. When you approach your public officials, you can't threaten them. They charge you with a Class C felony if you do. But when you tell the truth and they tell you to shut up, you know you're onto something. These people are so corrupt, all they care about is getting reelected. They certainly don't want to stop the corrupt pig we have for a president. And that's the problem. They're all corrupt. And if you people don't realize it and realize the need for a third party, I can't help you. Because I'm doing everything I can to help you understand that need. Thanks, Men and Nemesis, for being here. And thanks, everybody, for watching my extended show. I'll be adding it to my YouTube video tonight. I reconstruct it. I bring it all together and give you guys a full YouTube upload later in the evening. Keep the faith. It's not going to be easy fighting these corrupt people, but believe me, we're already on the right track to raising awareness, and that's the first step towards stopping these people. The last thing they want is an informed populace. They would much rather have a group of lazy, atrophied people who don't care about even their own rights. That's the way they want us. They want us weak. And the more we educate ourselves and what's really happening, the more strength we have to fight for our position, and the more reasons we have to fight for our position. This country was not founded on the backs of weakness. It was founded on the backs of the strong men that founded our nation, like Jefferson, Madison, Monroe. I'm not going to include Benjamin Franklin because he was a joke. He was a womanizer who had sex with every woman that walked. But no one knew why either, that women would like this guy. But anyway, the big point is the founders of our nation were not racist slave owners. They were enlightened individuals with brilliance and the mindset to create a system that can have checks and balances and can monitor its own activities. What they didn't account for is that all of their systems that they were laying out in the Constitution and the divisions of power could be bought off. They didn't plan on that. They never thought of lobbyists and the power of lobbyists, how they literally walk up to congressmen in their rooms. A lobbyist can get into any building any congressman is in and just to harass the congressman. So all these paid lobbyists can go in there and do far more work than you or I can do because they're on salary. And they can approach congressmen, whereas you and I, we're so busy we can't bother to do that. They keep us all on a treadmill. But the lobbyists, they have the corporate power. They have the money, the backing to control and influence our elections. And they're the ones controlling our country. And there's not a damn thing in the Constitution that can stop them. So there's a way, I believe, that we can pull the plug on lobbyists. But we have to start creating a brand new tax plan where they can't manipulate it and give tax breaks for all their corporate cronies. If we created a fair or flat tax that would have no deductions and no credits, this is where these lobbyists work. They work on credits. And that's ultimately going to be our biggest challenge, to stop the lobbyists using legal means, because they are truly the corrupt rail that is driving American policy, not the people of this country. Hey, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. I'm going to sign off right now, but thank you very much for watching my extending show, and I will be back again on Monday with another one. Yeah, it's not easy to do a show every night, especially when we're on the road, but hey, anything's possible, right? Here's what we stand for. The U.S. flag. There it is. And what it means to you may be different than what it means to me. I'd recommend a really good ergonomic chair that's available, somewhere out there in chairland. Something really comfortable for your back. I think a Campeche chair would be good. Yeah, I'm thinking of getting a Campeche. Memory foam would be smart, yes. Okay, that's it. Signing off. Let's see if I can pull up the audio. Feel good. Melt melt away. Take care, everyone. Good night. See you on Monday.
Sweet the taste of love can be until